Before the video starts, shout out to Darcey, Sherman, and Footy God. They subscribe to the channel and comment down below that they subscribe. If you want to be shouted out in the next video, then comment down below that you subscribe. Tell me, and I'll hit you on the next video. Now, enjoy.
As you all know, Doc Rivers has just been released by the Los Angeles Clippers. And as I'm sure everybody already knows, he just blew a 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets in Orlando, marking the third time in his career he's done such a feat, once with the Orlando Magic and twice with the LA Clippers. So now the question is, where does he end up? Now, I was just recently talking to a couple friends of mine, and one of them brought up something extremely interesting that I just had to make a video about. And it was the idea of Doc Rivers to the New Orleans Pelicans. So that really got me thinking, and I think there's definitely some merit to that. Now, before I begin my video, if you like the content, make sure to go down, drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think. Let's get started. So, of course, when talking about this New Orleans Pelicans head coaching job, the first question you have to think about is development. Development of the young core of Zion, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Jackson Hayes, etc. The development is going to be key. So the question is, can Doc Rivers adequately develop this young core? And just looking back at his past history, I think he's done a pretty good job at developing young players. Whether that be Tracy McGrady in the Orlando Magic, whether that be a Rajon Rondo from the Celtics, or even Blake Griffin. I thought Doc Rivers did a great job elevating Blake Griffin. Even though Blake Griffin got all those injuries, and the Golden State Warriors essentially happened during the peak of his career, I can't really blame Doc Rivers for that. So just looking at his past developments of young players, I think he's a pretty good development coach. So I think he'll be a great candidate in developing Zion, Lonzo, etc., especially considering the fact that everybody loves Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has class. He has confidence. And he's very outspoken on a social level, something crucial in NBA locker rooms. So I don't think development is going to be an issue if the Pelicans decide to hire Doc Rivers. So that means the second question now is, can he lead his team to wins? Can he lead them to the playoffs? And can he find success in the playoffs? And I think this is when it gets a little muddy. As everybody knows, his play calling was slightly questionable. When you looked at the Clippers, they really only had 3 plays. Kawhi score, Paul George score, and Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell pick and roll. There was very little action, very little ball movement. I would really like to see more handoffs to Landry Shamet. I would like to see more double screens to give Lou Williams open shots. I would have liked to see more play action with Paul George and Kawhi. I would like to see more pick and rolls with Zubac. But that never happened. But actually, I don't think that level of poor play calling will happen again with the New Orleans Pelicans, simply because of the way their roster is constructed. If you look at Zion Williamson, he's a monster. Zion Williamson is going to be elevated by the play of Lonzo Ball. That tandem of Lonzo Ball and Zion Williamson is going to be amazing. Any coach would want to work with that tandem of Lonzo Ball and Zion Williamson. So that's already a good chunk of play calling that that Doc Rivers can integrate within his game plan. But also, another reason why I think he's going to do a better job in terms of play calling is because of Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is such a versatile player. He can score off the dribble. He's gotten much better at playmaking as time goes on. Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram are still good pieces that play together. And then also, don't forget about JJ Redick. When you have someone as lethal as JJ Redick, now you can start running things like double pin down screens for a catch and shoot. Now you can run things like hammer action. Now you can run all of these complex plays for somebody as lethal as JJ Redick. And remember, they got shooters on that team. Brandon Ingram was shooting at a near 40% clip. Lonzo Ball has been shooting at a 37% clip. Doc Rivers isn't going to become complacent. I think that's what happened to Doc Rivers. He became complacent. He saw Kawhi Leonard, he saw Paul George, and he got complacent. He just said, I'm not going to run any plays. Here's the ball, you score. And they may have been talented enough to get the second seed, but the moment you hit the playoffs, when you hit so many competent defenses, that's just not going to cut it anymore. But I don't think Doc Rivers is going to be at that level of complacency if he gets signed by the New Orleans Pelicans. I think he's going to do a good job play calling, and I really do think he has the potential to be an amazing coach. So I think he can lead them towards success in the playoffs. Now, of course, the last thing I want to go over, something very brief, is the relationship with JJ Redick. We all know what happened in that Clippers locker room. Are there still tensions? What's going on there? We're going to have to see. They're going to have to talk it through. And probably the last thing I want to talk about is culture. Culture is the most important thing that you can bring up, especially when it comes to the development of young players. Just look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. They didn't have the adequate culture to develop their immense talent in Karl Anthony Towns and before Andrew Wiggins. That's why I'm a little worried if the T-Wolves select Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards already has a history of not putting in effort. What is that type of culture going to do to a young player like him? Or taking it beyond the NBA, look at the NFL and the New York Jets and Sam Darnold. Such a talent, but destroyed by that terrible culture within that team. But I think Doc Rivers can develop that culture. I think Doc Rivers is a likable guy. And I think he's not going to be complacent. I think that's what it comes down to. He knows that he screwed up. And I think leaving the Clippers is the best thing for him to prove himself as a championship level coach. Now, I totally understand if someone disagrees with me. If you just look at 2015, and not just 2015, beyond that, like the entire Lob City era, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin choosing sides, that was ugly, and he couldn't fix that. We saw culture issues in 2019 and 2020. We even saw culture issues within the later years of the Celtics between Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo. But I think that's the key, is he's not going to be complacent anymore. He's going to grow with these young guys, and I think he'll be a great pickup by the New Orleans Pelicans. I really think the Pelicans are going to consider getting Doc Rivers, and I think it's going to work. I think if they pick up Doc Rivers, they'll have a fighting chance to get in the playoffs. Now that Western Conference is going to be stacked, but I think it's going to be a good pickup. I just want to apologize in advance that this video was a little unorganized. This wasn't scripted. This was just what I'm thinking. And I tried to make it as raw as possible. So that's the end of my analysis of Doc Rivers to the Pelicans. Comment down below what you think. Drop a like if you enjoyed the content. Make sure to subscribe. Peace out.